Good afternoon. You're watching NBC Bay Area News. I'm Kayla Traub.
And I'm Joshua Penetrante, your news anchors for tonight. Tonight's top story takes us to Chinatown, where a children's talent show at the First Chinese Baptist Church takes an unexpected turn. The event brought together child prodigies from across the Bay Area to each display their unique skills. Throughout the evening, young performers danced, sang, and played musical instruments. But one performance has since become the focus of attention for what might be called an unusual tune. A young girl received a mixed reaction from the audience after an attempt of playing a piece of Johann Sebastian Bach on the piano. The recital started out great, but a series of mistakes grew apparent as it continued.
After performing and perfecting the violin for years, playing alongside someone like her should be a joke. I'm only a year younger than her, but it sounded like she was playing for the first time in her life. By the end of this embarrassment of a performance, there's only one guy clapping, and it was old Chong, who's almost deaf. Like, how ironic is that?
Well done!
I couldn't even imagine how her parents were feeling afterwards. You'd have to pay me to see another recital like that again.
Sorry to interrupt you there, Joshua, but we must interrupt our normal programming with breaking news. A powerful storm has arrived earlier than expected this evening, bringing strong winds and widespread flood advisories across the Bay Area. Authorities encourage residents to avoid coastal areas and remain indoors until further notice. Emergency reports have confirmed multiple casualties across Devil's Slide. Among the victims is a 4-year-old boy identified as Bing Su, who has been missing as a result of the tropical storm. I'm joined now by Rose Sue Jordan, who was with Bing moments before he disappeared. Let's hear what she has to say.
Okay. We were here at the beach, just one happy family. My mom told me to watch Bing, so I did. I was distracted just for one moment to see what my dad had caught. Everything turned to chaos after that. And my mind was all over the place. When I looked back, Bing was gone. My mother before was a devout Christian because it guided her to a better life in America. But now her Bible just used as a stand for the dinner table.
Thank you, Kayla, and condolences go out to all those who were affected by the recent storm. We now turn to Oakland, where the Oakland Public Library is hosting a special event in recognition of the 37th anniversary of the Joy Luck Club. Author Amy Tan led a public reading of the acclaimed fictional novel, which was later adapted into a feature film. The book centers on a group of 4 Chinese immigrant mothers who form a mahjong club, exploring the complex relationships between the women and their American-born daughters. Tan herself was an American-born Chinese, and she wrote the book in 1989 to better understand her relationship with her mother and her culture. Several patrons were here earlier this morning to share their reflections on the novel and its lasting impacts.
The Joy Luck Club's writing, in my opinion, is that it's genius. First, I have to bring up the fact that the book is structured like a mahjong game, which is such a smart move from Amy Tan. The book was constantly going from one of the 8 perspectives in the novel, which I liked because it made the book fast-paced and way more interesting. But it was a bit confusing sometimes.
So the Joy Luck Club really stood out to me as a Filipino American. So the book talks all about cultural identity through familial relationships and answers the looming question of, will I fit into society? Am I too Asian or too American? I believe experiences like these are universal for all second-generation Americans, and the Joy Luck Club really encapsulates that.
To me, the Joy Luck Club represents a part of Amy Tan's life. From her own troubled past, her mother, to lifelong trauma like the death of her father, this novel captures the essence of her toughest experiences for readers to learn about and relate to. Looking at society today, the novel really shows us how important this love is. With so many people overworked and secluded, it's especially important to care for others for everyone else's sake. With a nation being built upon immigrants, it's especially important that Amy highlights the struggles between homeland and American cultural values, showing that this clash is something that must be dealt with.
And for the final story tonight, we end on a hopeful note. Local San Francisco resident June Wu has traveled to China to reunite with her long-lost twin sisters after more than 30 years apart. Their mother, the late Suyan Wu, fled to the United States during the Japanese invasion of China, leaving behind her infant twin daughters as she began a new life in San Francisco, where she later gave birth to June. Following Suyan's passing, June was inspired to make an ancestral journey to meet her sisters for the first time, bringing a decades-long family separation to an end. that's all for today. Thank you so much for joining us here at 1 o'clock, and we wish you all a wonderful afternoon. We are NBC Bay Area News, and we hope to see you again very soon.